If you enjoy the content on this channel, please like and subscribe. Mr. Bates vs. the Post Office is a 4-part British television drama series for ITV, written by Gwyneth Hughes, directed by James Strong, and starring an ensemble cast led by Toby Jones. The series is a dramatisation of the British Post Office scandal, a miscarriage of justice, in which hundreds of sub-postmasters were wrongly prosecuted, privately and publicly, for theft, false accounting or fraud due to a faulty computer system called Horizon. It was broadcast on 4 consecutive days, from January 1st, 2024. The series takes its name from the court case instigated by the former sub-postmaster Alan Bates and others. The story revolves around a faulty IT system called Horizon, developed by Fujitsu, a Japanese multinational information and communications technology equipment and services corporation. The system creates apparent cash shortfalls that cause Post Office Limited to pursue prosecutions for fraud, theft and false accounting against a number of sub-postmasters across the United Kingdom. In 2009, a group of these, led by Alan Bates, forms a Justice for Sub-Postmasters Alliance. The prosecutions and convictions are later ruled a miscarriage of justice at the conclusion of Bates and the others versus the Post Office Limited judicial case in 2019. Some interesting trivia notes. Filming began in May of 2023 and took place in Llandudno, Conwy and Tatsfield, Surrey. Former member of the Business Select Committee, Nadim Zahwani, had a small role playing himself. Journalist Nick Wallace, who has written extensively about the scandal, was a consultant on the series. Although the series has been watched by an estimated 13.5 million people as of late April 2024, ITV said it made a loss of around £1 million on the production. Kevin Ligo, ITV's Managing Director of Media and Entertainment, partially blamed the lack of international appeal in the subject matter for these losses. The series was credited for igniting public interest in the scandal and led to demands for the former Post Office CEO, Paula Venables, to have her CBE withdrawn. Afterwards, a petition was drawn up that occurred more than 1.2 million signatures. Venables issued a statement on the 9th of January 2024 that she would return her CBE with immediate effect. However, this had no formal and immediate effect, as only a monarch can revoke or annul honours. Venables' appointment as CBE was formally revoked by King Charles III on the 23rd of February for bringing the honours system into disrepute. Such was the impact of the drama that the scandal became a major news story, and on the following day, then Prime Minister Rishi Sunak announced new legislation to exonerate wrongly convicted sub-postmasters and said there would be a new upfront payment of £75,000 for some of those affected. However, the new legislation will aim to ensure that any sub-postmaster who is guilty of criminal wrongdoing is still subject to prosecution. Post Office Minister Kevin Hollerank said £1 billion have been budgeted for compensation payments. Lead actor Toby Jones has spoken of being very proud of the impact the drama had, telling BBC Radio Stoke that there have been many dramas in the past that have had a political influence, but not quite as urgently and directly as this. He would also say that the drama was brilliantly dramatised by the writer, and the fact that it was being spoken about in Parliament within 3 weeks is absolutely extraordinary. On Friday, May 24, 2024, a law quashing convictions from the Horizon IT scandal was approved by Parliament and became one of the final bills to become a law ahead of the general election on the 4th of July 2024. Paula Venables only took over as CEO of the Post Office in April 2012, many years into the scandal. Alan Bates was awarded a knighthood in the 2024 King's Birthday Honours. Toby Jones, Sean Dooley and Catherine Kelly all recently starred in The Long Shadow, a series about the Yorkshire Ripper. Just a little bit of a background on the British Post Office scandal. The scandal was also known as the Horizon IT scandal, which involved the Post Office pursuing thousands of innocent sub-postmasters for apparent financial shortfalls caused by faults in Horizon, an accounting software system developed by Fujitsu. Between 1999 and 2015, more than 900 sub-postmasters were convicted of theft, fraud and false accounting based on the faulty Horizon data, with about 700 of these prosecutions carried out by the Post Office themselves. Other sub-postmasters were prosecuted but not convicted, forced to cover shortfalls caused by Horizon with their own money or had their contracts terminated. The court cases, criminal convictions, imprisonments and loss of livelihoods and homes, debts and bankruptcies led to stress, illness, family breakdowns and at least 4 suicides. In 2024, then Prime Minister Rishi Sunak described the scandal as one of the greatest miscarriages of justice in British history. Although many sub-postmasters had reported problems with the new software, and Fujitsu was aware that Horizon contained software bugs as early as 1999, the Post Office insisted that Horizon was robust and failed to disclose knowledge of the faults in the system during criminal and civil cases. In 2009, Computer Weekly broke the story about problems with Horizon, and the former sub-postmaster Alan Bates launched a Justice for Sub-Postmasters Alliance. In 2012, following pressure from campaigners and members of parliament, the Post Office appointed forensic accountants from the firm Second Sight to conduct an investigation into Horizon, with Second Sight, the JFSA, and the Post Office setting up a mediation scheme for sub-postmasters, but terminated it after 18 months. In 2017, 555 sub-postmasters led by Bates brought a group action against the Post Office in the High Court. In 2019, the judge ruled that the sub-postmasters' contracts were unfair and the Horizon contained bugs, errors and defects. The case was settled for £58 million, leaving the complainants with £12 million after legal costs. The judge's ruling led to sub-postmasters challenging their convictions in court, and in 2020, the government set up an independent inquiry. The Post Office Horizon IT inquiry was converted into a statutory public inquiry the following year. The public inquiry is ongoing, and the Metropolitan Police are investigating personnel from the Post Office and Fujitsu. Courts then began to squash sub-postmasters' convictions in December of 2020. By February 2024, 100 of the convictions had been overturned. Those wrongfully convicted became eligible for compensation, as did more than 2,750 sub-postmasters who had been affected by the scandal but not convicted. The final cost of compensation is expected to exceed £1 billion. Now, I found this to be a thoroughly engaging, fascinating, intriguing, and frankly, frightening series based on, of course, these true life events. What the show does is it really humanizes the people behind this horrific miscarriage of justice. Toby Jones turns out a fantastic performance here as Alan Bates, a man who is single-mindedly determined to right the wrongs done by this huge and massive corporation. It's a tour de force performance from Jones, who leads an excellent cast made up of some of the best British actors going around, but special shout-outs must go to Monica Dolan here as Jo Hamilton, Ian Hart as Bob Rutherford, not to mention Leah Williams playing the antagonist in the show, Paula Venables, as well as Catherine Kelly playing Angela van den Bogerd. It's a fast-paced, to-the-point show that really keeps you entertained, intrigued and fascinated throughout, yet also dismayed and shocked at the greed, corruption, and frankly ruthless nature in which the Post Office prosecuted these poor innocent people when they knew full well their system was faulty, but rather than lose a few pence, they took all the money from these people that they could get. It's a truly shocking and horrific case, and the mere fact that it took so long resulted in so many people being prosecuted, some of them losing their life savings, their homes, their jobs, others being criminally prosecuted and being even sent to jail, and some even committing suicide, is frankly just shameful. Of course, this is a dramatisation of a grave injustice, but I really feel the show hits the mark, and the mere fact that this show has had such an impact that it even reached the top end of Parliament just shows you how strong, powerful, and excellently made the show is, and what a phenomenal message it puts across. With its phenomenal script, fantastic acting performances, this is a show that really tells the tale of a true hero in Alan Bates, a man who stood up for so many and never gave up the fight. But then again, all the sub-postmasters that were wronged are heroes in the story. It really is a tale of a David versus Goliath, the little man fighting against the massive corporation, taking them to task, and eventually winning. Fascinating, introspective, yet downright scary and frustrating, Mr. Bates vs. the Post Office is an enlightening insight into a real, historic miscarriage of justice. Mr. Bates vs. the Post Office gets a 9 out of 10.